Men who have completely stopped dating. What made you stop dating people? Mine is from 2019. Thought I was going to marry that girl. Then I had a small but very toxic situationship in 2021, but other than that, I haven't done anything with a woman since. Nothing physical or emotional. I would like a girlfriend, but I know I need to work on myself, and also I'm just terrible at dating apps or publicly meeting someone while out. Confidence is terrible, self-esteem is terrible, and I plain old don't know what to say and get nervous, but hey, I found some happiness within myself. I can't be happy alone, so no worries. I'll be perfectly okay. Also, to add that myself, I'm sure some others, but I don't speak for anyone but myself, are on a financial clock. Just like women follow a biological clock on kids, marriage, etc. I just feel financial. I can't support having someone in my life when I can. Comfortably support myself, even though money can be tight. I can't give much help in the scheme of things with another person. I'm not saying I have to pay their bills or anything, but I just like to know that I can provide for them. Story 2. Daughter got cancer. Thought wife and I were working through it. Daughter off treatment for a year, and wife decides her depression makes her not care for me anymore and checks up with another guy while abandoning me and the daughter. Broke my confidence and created a need to defend myself and child. Don't feel comfortable reaching that level of infancy with another person. Depression doesn't make you magically become a schmuck and leave your family. Story 3. Because it's freaking exhausting. I think I'm just much happier alone. Hell is being beholden to anyone at this point in my life. I should also elaborate to say that I don't hold any incel mentalities. I was in a 5-year relationship 4 years ago. I date a lot, but recently I've been very burned out. It just feels like a conveyor belt of BS half the time. Between ghosting, people looking for me to foot 100% of the bill, this is happening much more lately, and I don't know why. Last-minute cancellations, another frequent phenomenon, etc. Hell, even when things do click, it still doesn't mean it will work out. By day 3, they might have discovered therapy and came to some life epiphany, or they might ghost anyway. Dating has become cheapened. Everyone is window shopping. People were never meant to be 2D objects on a screen reduced to swiping. It's toxic. I currently just want no part of it. I'll take my 3 dogs and call it a day. Story 4. Some would probably say this is putting myself down, but it's my honest opinion. I would like a woman who's truly compatible with me and attractive. This woman would be a catch, but I also know what I gotta be able to bring to the table. I'm 33, I live with my mother, I'm missing most of my back teeth, I have no higher education, I have no assets, and I have no money. I have a car and a crappy job slightly above minimum wage, but still poverty level. I'm in the process of getting dental implants for my back teeth, top and bottom, but it's expensive. Paying as I go. Renting a house would essentially be 70% of my income with roommates, so instead I continue living with my mother. She owns her house, and it's only her, but I understand the stigma, so I'm working on my teeth. I will eventually go back to school when I can afford to work part-time, after teeth. All that said, I'm a huge project. I don't think I'll find love, and that's just okay. Maybe my life will turn around, but I will be in my 40s and more than likely still broke. Well, you will be with that mentality. Story 5. I realized I was dating out of fear. I went on dates all the time because I was scared to stop dating, to stop putting myself out there, and especially to become so reclusive that I'd pass away old and alone. Dating was just compounding the fear. Each failed date added to the fears of passing away alone, but now that I've stopped dating, I've had a chance to see the pattern and break it. Now I'm trying to find a partner without dating, and it's been way more relaxing and enjoyable. You will find love when you're not actively looking for it. Story 6. When I was at my lowest point and having serious depressive ideations that I told her about my wife of 13 years, cut me out of her life entirely. She refused to let me back in the house with a threat of divorce if I tried. I spent 2 years living separately, on and off, while still trying to take care of the kids. I always thought that we'd reconcile, given 13 years of marriage and me following her to 3 different states for a job while giving up career opportunities to follow her. I lived in a sober living house for a while, always with the idea that, when I was better, I might get to live back in my home and with my wife and kids. She continued with the threat of divorce if I tried to even spend the night at her house. She then filed for divorce and used the fact that I hadn't lived in the house as a reason I should have to pay to keep the house. She did not mention in her filing that for years I had to rent temporary places at tens of thousands of dollars at my expense because I was hoping to make it work. So I got to the point pretty quickly then that we were breaking up. She was very surprised that she had to pay me out of the house. She was doubly surprised that since I gave up a lucrative career for her career that I didn't owe her anything. And she was triply surprised that I fought tooth and nail for every moment I could have with the kids. I make it work co-parenting with her and she's gone better, but she still tries to use the kids as leverage. That's disgusting. Yeah, it is disgusting. Story 7. A lot of modern dating is just depressing. On apps, I'll get maybe 5 out of 100 matched, many of which are bots. A lot of dating apps feel like being those birds that have to be flashy and dance. In person, sometimes, women will think I'm weird just for approaching them in a bar. Maybe it's just me actually being weird unintentionally. I don't know. Aside from initial impressions, I'm disabled. The older I get, the less interest people show in me. A woman might like me, but she also has to consider the fact that I'm not financially stable because of mental health issues. Episodes related to bipolar disorder are also a big negative. Story 8. I think it's a mix between how great my last relationship was and having to chase after people. My last relationship was literally perfect. We were best friends, had so many common interests, and did practically everything together. But we were young, and due to family issues, ended up having to move away from each other. Tried to stay in touch, but it eventually fell apart. Even though I'm over her, I don't see the point of dating anyone else unless I get the same dynamic as before. Like, yeah, intimacy is nice, but after a while, you just want to enjoy being with someone. Except nowadays, it seems the vast majority of women don't want this sort of dynamic. So weird. It's like if they see you as a friend, they somehow can't see you as a boyfriend. I notice the moment I start acting friendly and close to them, they suddenly lose interest. So yeah, I think I'm done. I'm almost done. Story 9. It sounds incredibly frustrating to feel like you're putting in effort and not seeing the results you want in your dating life. Here's a revised version of your thoughts. I'm in my 20s and consider myself an average-looking guy. I dress well in moderately expensive clothes. I'm tall and have a bit of a dad bod. I have a stable job with a good wage. I'm smart, can hold my own in a conversation, and usually make people laugh. But for the life of me, I can't seem to get a girlfriend. I've had nice dates with women at restaurants, gone bowling, tried the movies. Nothing seems to work out. Dating apps are the worst. I keep telling myself it's a numbers game. Statistics suggest that guys get around 2% matches, and that feels representative. However, only about 20% of those matches actually reply to me. I've tried around 7 different apps, with Tinder surprisingly yielding the best results, but to recap, out of 100 women, I'll only ever have a conversation with about 0.4 of them. The most disheartening part is that 80% of the women I've actually taken on dates have been so shallow that they lacked any real depth. There are just so many girl bosses repeating the same media-fed opinions. I've tried to steer conversations to get them to talk about their own experiences, beliefs, or anything that might reveal a bit of personality, but there's just nothing there. They don't even seem to have hobbies beyond binge-watching TikTok or Netflix. I even ghosted my last date. I told her I was sorry, but I wasn't feeling it and deleted all the apps. But I'm traditional. I want a wife and kids, so I'll probably reinstall them soon because I don't meet many women outside of apps, as most of my hobbies are nerdy and 99% male. I feel like I've lowered my standards to the absolute minimum. I laugh when people post their preferences and list alive, breathing, etc. Heck, I've gone out with girls I wasn't even attracted to. I can't help but feel that many Gen Z women are lacking substance. I know there are good ones out there. My friend is an amazing girlfriend, and I'm so happy for him. I just want to find mine already, you know? Sounds like you're feeling quite disillusioned with the current dating landscape. It's understandable to feel that way when your efforts are leading to the connections you desire. Hang in there. Story 10. Honestly, I've never dated. I've always had some sort of reason not to, like too broke, too little time, living at home, no car. And now when I think about it, about the idea of someone showing genuine interest in me, it feels wrong. Like, I can't accept it. If a girl were to come up to me tomorrow and say, "Hey, I think you're cute. Want to go out sometime?" I genuinely don't know if I could. Someone being interested in me goes against everything I've ever known, so clearly something's not right. I constantly be worried if I'm up to par, my situation hasn't improved much. Plus now I'm starting to bald. And is this the right person for me? I've heard so many horror stories of lives being completely ruined by some evil or crazy witch, and even if she's not evil, will we actually get along, or is one of us hoping to fake it till we make it? Which is not how it's done. And to that end, can I actually commit to our relationship? I've been alone for so unreasonably long that it'd be an uphill battle to change now. Making my space someplace I could welcome others, sharing my time with others and opening up and being open emotionally for others. Would I actually connect with someone, or would I just be wishing to be alone again? So yeah. While I want a special connection with someone and have thought about putting in effort to look, even though I have no idea where to start, another strike against me, the thought of reciprocated affection is so foreign to me I don't know if I can accept it. Nothing against you, man, but I hope to God I don't reach this point. Story 11. Not gonna lie, a part of me is extremely disenchanted with dating in general and the quality of women available in my area. I haven't reached the point of giving up entirely, but I have taken breaks before, and I'm currently taking a break. I'm even taking a break from a willing FWB because I'm feeling unfulfilled from the lack of common interests in conversation. You'd think it'd be amazing to have a girl ready to slurp on the snake pretty much weekly, and my being a fat dude that I should be grateful for. Instead, I'm focused on the lack of an emotional connection. Lol. Been there, done that. Story 12. My past relationships and entourage made me realize a man will never be loved for what he is, only what he provides. And even then, if he provided too much and it becomes taken for granted, chances are he will get cheated on. Modern communication makes it so easy for anyone to slip in between you and a loved one, and that option is so much more easier than putting effort into a relationship. I know of many women around me who cheat on their husbands who they claim to love, husbands that support them and their children, of whom they speak highly of in multiple posts and social media, but little do they know, while they're working hard to provide, their heartless partners betray them and make a fool out of them. It makes me sick to consider putting myself through this crap again. And if I'm not to be loved for what I am and to be abandoned the moment I encounter hardship and need support, I prefer not being loved at all. Besides all that, the dating process nowadays is not enjoyable. Knowing you are one out of probably 50 men messaging her, most of them being so desperate for love or intimacy, they'll all go out with unsustainable efforts to gain her attention. And I don't like at all the idea of being some kind of joker trying to parade and impress a woman over 50 other men, at the risk of being ghosted at any point, for multiple possible reasons. The crushing loneliness is somehow more pleasant than giving my heart out and seeing it stomped on joyfully again, and every day I grow more accustomed to it, giving me a peace of mind I don't want to put in someone else's hands ever again. Story 13. The last 3 people I dated turned out to be cheating on their significant other with me without my knowledge, and cut ties with me cold turkey once they were caught. And I kind of just went, that can't just be a coincidence, right? And decided to just focus on other crap. Mind you, 3 completely different age groups. One a year younger, another 9 years younger, and the other was 6 years older. So it's not like you can just blame a generation. Story 14. I've spent a solid year in 3 dating sites with absolutely no significant attempts at connection from others. This is something I've done many times over my life, and I've never had this kind of problem. I always received interest, chats, and eventually meetups. I don't necessarily expect dating right off the bat, but some semblance of contact would have been nice this time around. I used 3 major sites, each with a profile including photos and text about myself. I even had a premium subscription to each for several months. The result? 1 date. The most bigoted woman I've ever encountered. I received about 10 to 15 likes across all 3 sites and around 5 messages, none of which progressed beyond 2 replies. I swiped through thousands of profiles and contacted hundreds of people. Nothing. My appearance hasn't changed, and I've tweaked my writing style and profile on each site multiple times. My life situation hasn't worsened in the last 10 years either. I'm a homeowner with a well-paying, prestigious job, with many hobbies, and I've been previously married for many years and in long-term relationships since. I suspect part of the issue is turning 40. That seems to have ended any momentum. Another part might be having a daughter who lives abroad with my long-divorced ex. As for the rest, it feels like the dating app scene is absolutely stone cold for people like me, those who aren't super attractive or part of the party scene. And the young party guys think that you're getting all the fun. Story 15. Modern people are not worth pursuing. Nobody wants a partner. They want the literal best in every category because they were raised on 3 concepts. Only the best is good enough, vanity matters more than connection, and you don't need to change anything about yourself to deserve the best. That's tiring. It's painful. It's futile. Take a look at the Tinder sub for a few extreme examples. The women think they're entitled to a 6'+ millionaire clone model that worships the ground they walk on. The men want a flawless and perfect sandwich-making machine with huge melons and no vocal cords. Story 16. Wife of 13 years cheated and left. She had a secret apartment where she met up with this guy and everything. I was completely blindsided, totally in love with her, and wanted nothing other than to be her man. And I found out. I told her I could forgive her, we could go to therapy, whatever. She said, nope, I'm out. Never even gave me a reason. It's been almost 2 years and my feelings on dating haven't changed. Never again. It's just not worth the pain. Story 17. To be honest, I never really stopped. I've kept trying, and since my last long relationship, there have probably been about 4 or 5 shorter ones. For some reason, I just have periods of bad luck. A buddy and I used to joke about how I always seem to come in second to some other guy. I'm kind of seeing someone new now, and I have this anxiety that she'll just start seeing someone else and be too chicken to tell me. But truthfully though, I know everyone's got their anxieties, baggage, and trauma. Still, screw giving up. Nobody got rich and famous by rolling over when things got tough, so even if I try and fail 1 billion times, it'll take just 1 win to make every failure worth it in my opinion. Now that is the spirit. Story 18. After dating the absolute worst people for years, I came to the realization that the age-old adage, there's someone out there for everyone, you hear growing up or what friends or family tell you after a breakup was an unrealistic expectation of relationships. My parents were especially pushy in that regard. I absolutely needed to be with someone in order to be truly fulfilled in life. Once I had that epiphany and came to terms with the fact that I was gravitating towards people who didn't have my best interests in mind or heart, simply because I was looking for the one, it occurred to me that I'd always been happiest in life and I was single, and stopped dating entirely. Don't get me wrong, it can get lonely, and I oftentimes do wish I had someone special to share life with. However, that thought quickly fades when I look at the people around me who are absolutely miserable in their relationships or marriages, and thank God that I'm not stuck in something, constantly looking for a way out or suffering through it just to not be alone. Story 19. Having a girlfriend is money consuming. Not saying women are only after money with that statement, but if you really like someone, it's natural that you spend money on gifts, trips, and the like to show your appreciation. I'm not financially stable to the point where I can afford to really spoil my woman, so I don't want to bring her into a mediocre or boring relationship because it probably shouldn't be in one in the first place. Breaking up is irritating. I easily detach from people, so it's not that aspect of it. It's more like I've formed an entire bond with this person for 3, 4, 5 years, only for them to no longer be a part of my life. Now I have to act like they never existed. I could have just gone without that bond to begin with. Marriage. I never see myself getting married. The crap men have to deal with when going through a divorce is absurd, especially in situations where they weren't even the cause of the marriage being unsuccessful. Naturally, women want to be married eventually, and this is the main cause of my past breakups. Story 20. Women, for the most part, just feels too much like a transaction and we're more of an accessory to them than a partner. Dating is dreadful if you're beyond a certain age. A lot of women consider most men creepy and weird no matter what we do. If you're not 6'5", attractive, and visibly rich, you're a creep. I don't even bother with eye contact anymore. I don't want to be a viral video for some rage-baiting women desperate for attention. Of course, this isn't all women, but the ones that are already taken. It's futile. I'd rather outsource a woman. American women are as basic and unrealistic as they come. I was kinda feeling for you until you said outsource a woman, like an object. Story 21. Most women under 32 feel that if she gives a guy any span of attention, it's a favor and he's lucky. That is, if he isn't a solid 10. I'm 26 and it's very black and white for me. If I feel that you make my life harder after I come home from work, there's the door. Alternatively, if you want to chill, watch TV, play some games, hell, maybe cook a meal, sick, I'll love you to bits. But yeah, the doors are always there if you start crap. Not remotely interested in unnecessary drama. You're an addition in my life, not a necessity. Most women I've dated over 32 understand this very clearly, so it works out. However, all of them either have animals or kids. I've never met one that doesn't. If she's got a kid, well, you're never a priority, ever. So there's that, and now you're dating 2 people. Wouldn't recommend. If she's got animals, again, you're never number 1 priority, so there's that. It's tolerable, but yeah, still sucks that you aren't number 1. Unfortunately, it just means that long-term, I can't date them. Just lots of 1 to 2 year dating and younger women's mindset just isn't healthy for me. Can't stand the drama. Bring me peace, not chaos. Legend says that your dating problems will disappear if you don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button. Story 22. Thought I had the perfect marriage. We talked heart to heart often, enjoyed each other's company and humor, had agreed to break up as friends and tell each other first in the event of attraction outside each other. Caught her cheating. Learned it wasn't the only time. If the marriage was troubled, it wouldn't have hurt so much, but I was caught utterly and completely off guard. I've had many relationships in my 40-plus years, but this one made me lose trust and faith in people, so much so that it took me almost 6 years to start dating again. Then I realized the scene had changed to a shallow match collection where everything that accounts in the long run is disregarded and looks are everything that matters anymore. Also, it doesn't look like many women in my age, plus or minus 8 years, seem to value long relationships anymore. Much younger women seem to be interested in me, 20 plus, but have yet to find someone whose personality, humor, etc. match with mine. Those things are more important to me than cup size or clothing brands, so I kind of just stopped looking and gave up. I don't dislike being on my own, but there are moments when loneliness does feel unbearable. I just want peace and harmony, which in today's world seems to be rare and disvalued. Story 23. Anyone I talk to flakes out and then proceeds to ghost me. Clearly, there are better options at the touch of a screen, so what chance do I have if I'm not a mask 6-foot-plus model? Not even talking about dating women, by the way. I am broken. I must be so maladjusted from 20 years without friends that I'm not seeing how repulsive I am. I spend time working on myself, in a sense that I have my hobbies, I work out to stay in a healthy weight range and keep my stomach flat, I own my home, etc. I'm clearly not enough. Story 24. Where do I start? The lies, the cheating, the gaslighting, the financial misuse, the negativity, driving a wedge between me and my friends, driving a wedge between me and my family, blaming people for things that weren't their problem, the ego, the manipulation, and psychology wasn't my strong suit. That was a very long time ago now. I'm an introvert, so don't mind not having company, maybe too much. Still, I eventually tried dating again, but nobody was interested enough. Wasn't meant to be. I'm pretty zen about it now. These days, people, always the married people, tell me I'm the calmest person they know and ask me how I do it. I wasn't always like that, believe me. So the trick is to be single? Story 25. Because after years of rejection, I finally got the hint. It's fine. I get it. There are certain things I can't change. I'm in decent shape, successful in my career, have hobbies, take good care of myself in my house, cook, clean, decorate, etc. I try to be a generally nice person. None of that will change my face, my voice, my hairline. Started receding young, shaved it ever since. My height, my complexion, sickly gosh darn pale, no matter how much sun, etc. No amount of positive attitude and working on myself is going to change this. Story 26. Society and its cultural conditioning completely misled both genders, and were told that they needed to be nice and meek, not aggressive, not masculine. Just be your friend and eventually she'll see your value. While women were told that they can do anything and should be boss witches and they should focus on their careers and don't need a man for anything. The problem is that women can't stand weak, effeminate men that they can dominate, while men cannot stand aggressive, combative, argumentative, masculine women that they think just being with you is settling. Most, obviously not all, there will be a million exceptions. I am speaking in generalities. People are happier when the man is the leader in the relationship. Not in a 1950s, you do everything I say way, more like, I already have ideas on where to go to dinner so you don't have to make a decision way. And that is the opposite on how most people have been conditioned and taught to behave. So we have a complete mismatch of how both genders behave and what both actually want when they are honest with themselves. Men are too feminine and women are too masculine. Given that mismatch, dating is awful now as neither side gets what they want and don't understand why. Just my thoughts. I'm prepared for the flood of downvotes and insults, but in any other age, these thoughts wouldn't be that controversial. Hot take, but you kind of have a point there. Story 27. As a young guy in my 20s, I've stopped at a long 7-year relationship. Even then, in the last 2 years, it didn't feel anything right. Always arguing, and eventually, she left. She wanted to remain friends, but I ghosted her. I didn't argue, I accepted it. Didn't challenge it, nor would I chase it. This made her extremely angry and sad. She wanted to remain friends, but it didn't even last a week. I discovered I don't want kids if a relationship can end after 7 years. Then so will the next. Why would I risk marriage when divorce rates are so high and see against men? For a young guy, it's much easier to have ons and develops my career and myself. That way I get my needs met without the constant strain of keeping others from leaving. I'm not the only one. Many of my friends think this too. I see no upsides to dating or getting married to a guy in this day and age. Heck, even for women, I don't see an upside to it. Maybe I'm too young now, but these things don't matter at my age, but I know they will when I'm older. Story 28. I've given up. I'm not treated with any courtesy of consideration for my time or well-being. The last time, I was dragged to a show only to find I was ditched in the middle of the night so she could fool around with some other guys there. I eventually realized this was always her plan as she immediately stopped texting afterwards, and there were other minor signs I had overlooked. As I'm exhausted from constantly putting in effort when I believe there's an actual connection, only to have my efforts wasted, I've given up. I'd rather just enjoy doing things by myself where I don't have to deal with these childish and immature behaviors. There are days where I do get hit with bouts of loneliness, but I will take that over dating others who constantly make me feel alone and not valued. Story 29. I've always been inept at the dating game. Feels like exactly that. A game. The whole thing makes me feel like another number. My insecurities flare up and I experience this intense feeling of self-loathing. Once you get over the loneliness, you find comfort in the solitude and dating begins to feel like wasted energy. Plus, I see all this mindless relationship drama and couples that are obviously incompatible, trying to force a connection that isn't there. I'm grateful I don't have to deal with any of that. Lastly, even if I found someone decent, I'm so focused on doing my own thing that I don't think I could put in the energy to make it last. There would be a lot of expectations to live up to that I'm not prepared for. I'm not in a position to really be the partner that I expect someone else to be. Story 30. I only ever mattered when I was exactly what they wanted. I was expected to change, to fit into what they thought was ideal, how I felt and what I thought didn't matter unless it was what they wanted to hear. Years of dealing with that, over and over, after trying to date seemingly every kind of woman under the sun, just made me give up trying. To be clear, I dated girls of just about every kind of race. I dated religious girls, spiritual ones, and atheists. I dated girls that were skinny, that were fat, that were curvy, and a variety of different levels of attractiveness. Crap, I dated girls that were mute, dated an albino. I tried to be open-minded. I really tried to consider that I was the problem. Every girl expected me to compromise. They expected me to bend and twist and work to make them happy, but couldn't be bothered when I asked them to do something hard for my sake. I quit trying. Well, every relationship has compromises, but yeah, if they don't reciprocate it, I don't know. Story 31. Women are brutal. I'm not saying all of them are, but I have to go through 100 of them to find someone decent. It's probably similar to what women have to go through for crappy men. Dating is a crap show. I'm thin and make decent money and love to vibe with anyone, but that's not enough. I need to be bigger, richer, and more of a jerk to win a date. I'm also more of a traditional guy. I want to meet her parents and have a kid or two. I'd like to eventually be the embarrassing dad and romantic, but that's extremely unpopular. So now I decide to be alone and see if I hit the dating lottery one day. Story 32. If and when my current relationship ends, I won't have another. Sorry, ladies, but dating you people is awful. It only works when she's head over heels for you. To accomplish that, you have to not give a crap about her. If you do give a crap, women sense that and pull away. I'm sorry, but actually caring about a woman is bad for a man's health. This has literally happened with every single woman I've ever been involved with, no matter how much they protest against that concept. I don't know what to do with that knowledge. I wish I had understood it growing up. I'm sure many of you will have a knee-jerk reaction reading this and nonsensically tell yourselves I'm an incel or whatever, and then you make yourselves out to be the victims because of it, which is what typically happens when a man tries to talk to a woman about these things. Ladies, I'm not trying to be a schmuck. Try to reflect on what I'm saying. My opinion was asked, so I gave it. It's funny how you think that people reading this will make themselves out to be the victims because that's what I'm sensing from you. Story 33. My ex cheated on me for our entire relationship and dumped me shortly after I had surgery as I was recovering. I get very few matches on dating apps. I'm not conventionally attractive, and women have made it clear they don't want men approaching them in public, which I can understand, being fair. Even how some men react poorly or physically to being rejected. The few matches I do get, the women don't really seem interested in actually talking and immediately jump to ask when I'm taking them to dinner. And a lot of women on dating apps nowadays in my age bracket seem to have kids. I don't have an issue with kids, but I frankly don't want kids. And I also don't like the expectation that I've run in to basically pay for their kid. I also just found lately I'm happy with my life as it is. I travel for my job occasionally, and I don't need someone to make me feel fulfilled. Story 34. It feels like people are constantly looking for upgrades, thinking they can find the perfect partner while being imperfect themselves. There's a lack of willingness to work through issues, with people jumping ship as soon as minor difficulties arise. And there's the experience of being treated like a walking wallet, and this concept of the ick, whatever that truly entails, not to mention the prevalence of double standards. On top of all that, simply finding someone to date is incredibly difficult. Personally, I blame dating apps for a lot of these issues. It's hard to entirely fault women when they're presented with thousands of seemingly desperate guys willing to do anything for some attention. For now, I'm just avoiding the stress of all this nonsense and hoping that fate will be kind to me one day. Being single isn't bad at all in the meantime. Sure, buddy. Story 35. I'm a healthy tall man with a well-paying job, just enough wealth to not have to worry about it. My own home, no kids, etc., etc. Over the last 20 years, the average woman interested in dating me had no job, had kids, had no ambition, was extremely lazy or whatever. You get the picture. I enjoy the company of my friends and most of my colleagues because I can see them as equals. I'd love to meet a single woman like that, but I doubt that will ever just happen. And dating apps were the most toxic thing to mental health I ever experienced. So no dates anymore for over a year, since I never meet anyone who is worth dating. I don't feel worse about it than before. Story 36. Double standards and boring women are really getting to me. I'm so tired of seeing "don't be boring" in a woman's bio. Seriously? What do you expect me to message you? Some generic, overused pickup line? You all realize people just Google those things, right? Don't be boring, but your profile has 5 basic selfies and absolutely nothing about you to actually talk about. And then there are the endless double standards in dating in general. Honestly, I'd rather pass away alone than be someone's sole provider, emotional support system, personal entertainment, handyman, protector, and gardener. Hell, I even cook, so I guess I'd also be the cook and cleaning help. And what do I get in return? Intimacy. Dude, I have a perfectly good pocket thing, and I don't have to feel like a chore if I want to use it. I've lost 30 pounds, went from 270 to 240 with a goal of 215, since I was back in school and I just got a promotion at work. I'm done with dating. I'd rather be single than feel like I'm just someone's wallet and dad, especially when I can't even get a cuddle or a good boy or any intimacy when I'm having a bad day. There's more to it too, like how terrible dating app algorithms are and how toxic the hookup culture and dating multiple people at once can be. But yeah, nah, I've got my dogs, and honestly, now that I'm not trying to date, I'm literally the happiest I've ever been. You want to be called a good boy? Story 37. I'm awkward in public, and although working on my image and actually starting to love myself more, literally any negative thing gets said and I spiral back to my insecurities. At that point, no matter how suave you were, how good you were looking, the insecurities don't really help you get past a relationship that hasn't been going on longer than a month. And while I open up very easily, I can date, it's really hard to get a relationship going. Also, I'm a slow burner. I've dated for months and not made the move to the next step. 30 and want kids. Mostly people my age, either already decided on not wanting kids or have and don't want more. The problem is me. I'm aware, but damn, it's hard to just be someone totally different than who I am. Story 38. Because of the pool of available people, most don't actually know what they want, so they play the game until it suddenly becomes real. They panic and then flake. The rest are just in it for the attention and validation, and then they flake. I've done a lot of thinking since my last breakup and have analyzed all my previous relationships. Serious in the short term, and I realized in each and every one, I'd put far more time, energy, dedication, love, and commitment than I ever received. It's just left me so overly exhausted on the concept of love and relationships, even though I do want to have a relationship with someone. Story 39. Trans man here. Last woman I dated was miserable. She wanted no one to know we were dating. Anytime I went over, we did nothing but intimate acts, and dating someone who outright refuses to reciprocate the favor can get frustrating. Did not care about anything I did, whether it be from drawing, sculptures, or new OCs. It was always cool or wow, another monster. But when I said I didn't like this adaptation or her own creation because I didn't like the design, she got super offended and insisted, I'm upset and need to take a nap. And I get upset by her anger. One time, I walked in the rain to meet her up for lunch, and she failed to tell me she didn't have money or forgot her wallet and expected me to pay. I walked right back outside and went home. And even when we weren't dating and were just FWBs, she neglected to tell me she was dating someone else and didn't tell her boyfriend she was sleeping with someone. Why would she tell either of us, you ask? That's because they were in an open relationship but didn't want anyone knowing they were dating. Yeah, sure. And I've heard that she blames me when I found out and told her boyfriend about the situation. Needless to say, I'm so much happier without her in my life. While she's stuck in a stupid job, I'm actually being a productive member of society. But she's the reason I no longer want to date anymore. Story 40. 5 long-term relationships over 25 years. Been cheated on in each of them, and not just emotional cheating or one-night stands, like them completely falling for another guy, sleeping with him repeatedly behind my back and then leaving me. Can't trust women for crap now, especially after the last one. Why am I going to waste my time and energy and money only to be used, hurt, and discarded? All the love yous I've said, all the reassurances that they were beautiful, all sincere and from the bottom of my heart, didn't keep them from doing what they did. All the flowers, gifts, opening doors, walking on the correct side of the sidewalk, all that I provided for them. Everything I did because I cared about them so much was for absolutely nothing. I still did what they did. Not only did the memories that we made together not keep them from doing that, but it also ruined my memories of those times. So now I have 25 years of memories that are worthless at best, and usually just hard to think about. Even if I could trust a woman just one more time, why would I do that? Why would I put myself out there, give it my all, bare my heart and mind and soul just to possibly get crap on again? The last one, I told her about my insecurities and what has been done to me. She swore up and down she wouldn't do that. I believed her. She did exactly the same as everyone else. Screw all that. I'm done. Story 41. Why bother? Relationships take your time and money and exhaust you mentally. I've noticed I'm way more happier when I'm single. I can do whatever I want when I want without a worry. Last month, I traveled to 13 countries alone, and it was the first time I was truly able to enjoy traveling. I always traveled with someone before. Also, in my last relationship in the end, it only felt I was in it for the intimacy, which wasn't worth everything I was doing to upkeep the relationship. Now I can just have intimacy. No strings attached, and I feel free. Story 42. Last girl I fell for led me on after dating for months. Was dating around and hiding it. Didn't let it slow me down, though. Kept lifting, kept working, all while ghosting her. Unfollowed her on everything. She kept lurking and liking some of my stories for like 7 months before she gave up. Last time I saw her, she looked heavier and was staring at me from across the gym. Yikes. You can't take back someone who shows you they don't give a crap about you, even if you're still in love with them. Doesn't matter. Your feelings aren't a reflection of reality. Story 43. An ex broke up with me in September 2022. Was with someone else by January this year, moved in within about 2 months, and recently got engaged this September. He had told me he wouldn't want to get engaged until at least 2 years into our relationship, so that stings like a witch. We'd been together a year and a half. I had plans to propose. We'd been living together with 2 friends and had very recently moved out and were semi-long distance. I'd gone down to visit him, everything was fine, then a few weeks later, he ended it. I know it's only been just over a year, but I have zero interest in dating anyone else. Just going to focus on uni and self-betterment for a while. I tried to go on a date a couple of months ago, but it's definitely not it for me right now. Can't see that changing for a good while. Story 44. My wife of 17 years told me she was having an affair on Father's Day 2021. She wanted us to continue living together, for her to remain a stay-at-home mom, and for us to not tell anyone that she was done with her marriage. All while she continued to see the other man. We had just bought a house after working for years to achieve that goal. It never fought. I genuinely thought things were great up until that devastating moment. I've since realized how surface level a relationship actually was. I believed it was great, more because that was something I needed to believe rather than reflecting the reality of our dynamic. Intellectually, I know I deserve better. I know she's not good for me. But the idea of having a whole family is all I've ever wanted. Because of this, I haven't seen anyone or even asked anyone on a date in 2.5 years. It's like I thought we were forever. And now I'm kind of stuck in the mindset that if even she could cheat, then anyone is capable of it. I'm working on it. I recognize that I have a lot of self-limiting beliefs, but simply knowing that doesn't magically change anything. This entire mess has utterly destroyed my confidence. I'm educated, earn a 6-figure salary, and I'm still relatively young at 38, but I generally believe I will never be able to find someone even half as good as what I thought I had. So trying doesn't even feel worth it. Well, if you like these stories, here's more. YouTube thinks you're going to love this. Catch you in that video.